I always wanted to try a pair of open back headphones, so last month I decided to go for something that would still get me that kind of technology without breaking the bank. These are the Sennheiser PX95, and let's see whether I'm happy with my purchase or not. So one thing I can tell you right away is that I love how these headphones look. They've got a kind of a retro vintage design that's not really common, and it makes them unique in their own way. They sport a thin steel band on top, with some soft foam on the ear caps, while the outside is covered by some glossy plastic and fabric at the center. The most noticeable detail in this overall really minimal design is the holographic Sennheiser logo on the outside of the hinges, which I definitely spent too much time staring at. Going down the plastic wrapped cables, you'll find the PX95 logo where the two cords meet, and the right-angled 3.5mm jack. At 1.2 meters, the cable itself is sufficiently long for casual listening from your portable music player or your PC, and it's nicely built even if a bit too thin in my opinion. Since you can't swap it out, take good care of the cable if you want to use these for more than a few months. The choices made for materials and design help in keeping the weight down. The PX95s weigh about 70 grams, which is insanely light. Combine that with soft foam on the ear caps and the super flexible band on top, you can guess how comfortable they are. I can wear them for hours with no problem, and I even ended up sleeping with them, as you almost forget having them on. The steel band is reasonably adjustable in length, with click signaling every step, but I wouldn't like the same more freedom as for the really limited swiveling allowed. The only real complaint I have as for comfort is that being on-ear headphones they tend to fall off pretty easily, so even a fast-paced walk can make them drift around. So time for the important stuff. How do these actually sound? Since I'm pretty new with this type of headphones, I needed some more adjustment to properly judge them. So I listened. And I listened. And I listened. And what I can tell you right away is that I like them a lot, but I want to make clear a couple of things. First of all, Soundstage is really good, as you would expect from a pair of headphones of this kind. The sound feels spacious and kind of open, if that makes sense to you, and it results in a much better soundstage than your typical pair of closed headphones. This of course results in more sound leakage, which is by the way not nearly as bad as I expected. People around you will still get to hear what you're listening to if you crank that volume all the way up, especially since the maximum volume is pretty high, but it's not terrible. Of course, the opposite is also true, so sound from the outside is easily audible. Sound signature is relatively flat for a pair of non-reference headphones. The bass is warm and clear, and it's probably slightly accented. The mids and the highs are crisp and definite. You do lose some detail on the very highs, but you will notice it just in specific cases and just if you pay close attention. During all of my testing, I simply wasn't able to find a genre they didn't perform well with, and they're also perfectly suitable for video listening because of their reasonably balanced sound signature. Now if you compare these to say the HD439 which I use to mix audio, you can immediately tell they're made for listening to music, no mistake about that, but they're not heavily tuned in any way. Sound distortion handling is also excellent. Even at 95% max volume there is an absolutely negligible amount of it, and background noise is low as well. I have to admit that given the $35 price tag, I really wasn't expecting this quality. They tend to float between 35 and 50 on Amazon, but even at 50 I definitely feel like recommending them, as they are great value for the money and they rival much more expensive headphones in terms of sheer sound quality. So here's the bottom line. I love how they look and how comfortable they are. They deliver a detailed and balanced sound with an excellent soundstage, but all of this comes at the cost of sound isolation, so the ideal use case for me is while chilling at home or to go strolling, definitely not recommended for noisy or crowded places. So that was it for this review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a much appreciated like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thank you so much for watching. This was Joe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.